Okay, so the first thing that Juanjo will run us through is just a brief summary of our platform and what it has to offer. Then I'm going to jump in and explain the partner program, which some of you might be familiar with. I don't know if I could get a show of hands of who is a partner in here. Do you guys know what the partner program is? Okay, so a few of you, great. And then we have come up with 10 fundamental strategies, or 10 fundamentals for creating a strategy on YouTube. And it'll be kind of an interactive workshop where we'll brainstorm some ideas for creating content that does well on our platform. Then I'll go over some key areas for audience development, and Juanjo and I will take your questions afterwards. We are running a bit short on time, so we're going to be going fast.
Perfect. Can you go into the next one already? So we went through this yesterday. YouTube is absolutely the best place to create your fan base. 1 billion unique users per month and 100 hours uploaded every minute. A lot of that content is already consumed by devices worldwide. 80% of that content is consumed actually outside of the US. And we already talked about the importance of Latinos creating content and consuming content. So we already know about that platform. Can you go to the next one? Technology nowadays is enabling us as individuals and companies to really create and share for people that want to watch what we create whenever we are, whatever, and on whatever device we are. And really amazing stats here. I already talked about the 40%. Can we get into the next one? Really, anyone right now can be a creator. You don't need very expensive stuff to create amazing content for our platform or any other digital platform. It's about how you curate that content, how you create it, and how you engage with that fan base. And that's what we're going to be going through today. We're going to be leaving some time for Q&A. We're short on time, so it's going to be a lot of information. Take some notes. And at the end, we will love you to, we're going to be presenting a QR code. So if you can take a picture of that and send us your YouTube channel, we would love to hear about that. And later, we can engage with you and give you some tips or things like that.
Great. So as Juanjo said, I work on the partnerships team, and the partner program is defined by these 4 R's. The first one is reach, which we alluded to. You know, you have the ability to reach a global audience 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The second awesome thing about the partner program is the ability to monetize your content. So when you into monetization, and you're able to select which videos and which ad formats you show on your videos, and so you can use it as another way to generate revenue. We take rights very seriously and want to ensure that we provide you with tools to protect your copyright across our platform. And if it's one thing that Google and YouTube love, it's data. So there's a very robust analytics tool within YouTube for you to really dive into who is looking at your content, where are they accessing it from, and how much revenue are you generating. So there's over 100 reports that you can really get a pulse of how your fan base is replying or really interacting with your content. So one of my favorite things about my job is the ability to kind of advise different partners on you know, their creative strategy and their programming strategy on YouTube, because I think that there are so many awesome creative people out there, but it's a matter of kind of thinking what's going to work on YouTube. So we have a team at headquarters that is dedicated to researching and understanding what top channels and top creators are doing that's driving their success. They've come up with these 10 fundamentals. Before we jump into the 10 fundamentals, in order for this exercise to be the most beneficial, you kind of need to think like a creator. Get in that mindset of, you know, making content. Like, what kind of content do you want to make, and how are you going to package that content? So these are the 10 kind of trends that we see in successful channels. By no means is it a checklist, nor is it a scorecard, because not every video and not every channel is going to incorporate all 10 of these all the time. But it's a matter of, understanding what are kind of key drivers and how you can implement them to better your content. So, if you were in the session earlier today, I see a handful of you guys that look familiar. We went over shareability and conversation. We're going to go in depth on all 10 of these. And in order for this to be most productive, I want you guys to kind of think of the end goal being establishing a loyal fan base. So Juanjo mentioned the importance of a fan base, and these 10 are all centered around that unifying theme of having loyal fans. In order to have those loyal fans, you first need to get fans, right? And then you need to do things that make them happy, and you yourself need to be happy with what you're doing. So it's kind of a chicken and egg and full circle experience in building a loyal fan base. So these 10 fundamentals we're going to walk through kind of highlight the importance of creating like a quintessential series or a hit show. We have the example of Zay Frank, who started out with a vlog on YouTube. He would just record himself, and he gained a following, but then he embarked on a journey of creating a new program, and this program is called True Facts, where he mixes science, knowledge, and some funny facts, and it turned out to be super helpful for his channel. Each video has over 1 million views, and it's a very sustainable series. So the fact that he kind of took a fan base and then thought of a creative idea and then was able to run with it has really benefited his channel.
And one pro tip, if you don't know some of these creators, just write their name and subscribing to their channel. Once you get all of these pieces of information, you're going to be able to identify what they are doing. And my suggestion is try to replicate as much as you see with some of these pro creators.
Does anybody recognize this kid? Kid president. So we're going to watch a short clip. So this is from the channel Soul Pancake. And I think that a lot of us, associate Kid President as being a standalone, but it's actually a part of a larger thing. So this is another example of...
We all need pep talk. The world needs to stop being boring. Yeah, you. Boring is easy. Everybody can be boring, but you're gooder than that. Life is not a game, people. Life isn't a cereal either. Well, it is a cereal. And if life is a game, aren't we all on the same team? I mean, really, right? I'm on your team, be on my team. This is life, people. You got air coming through your nose. You got heartbeat. That means it's time to do something. A poem. 2 roads diverged in the woods, and I took the road less traveled. It hurt, man! Really bad. Rocks, thorns, and glass. My parts broke. Wah! Not cool, Robert Frost. But what if there really were 2 paths? I want to be the one that leads to awesome. It's like that dude Journey said, don't stop believing. Unless your dream's stupid. Then you should get a better dream. I think that's how it goes. Get a better dream, then keep going. Keep going, and keep going. Will Michael Jordan have quit? Well, he did quit. No, he retired. Yeah, yes, he retired. But before that, in high school, what if he quit when he didn't make the team? He would have never made Space Jam. And I love Space Jam. What will be your Space Jam? What will you create will make the world awesome? Nothing if you keep sitting there. That's why I'm talking to you today. This is your time. This is my time. It's our time. We can make every day better for each other. If we're all on the same team, let's start acting like it. We got work to do. We can cry about it, or we can dance about it. We were made to be awesome. Let's get it out there. I don't know everything. I'm just a kid. But I do know this. It's everybody's duty to give the world a reason to dance. So get to it. You've just been pep talked.
So he has a very powerful message, right? And I think it actually applies to what we're all here today doing. But the real reason he's a part of this presentation is to show how powerful a new series can be for a channel. So we can see kind of the spike in views that Soul Pancake was able to get when they, and if you think of that kind of as the case study for these next 10 things that we're going to look at, there are a lot of things that they do really well in that one single video that also happen in a lot of their videos. So let's get to it. Number one is shareability. Do you guys recognize that image, or how many of you have seen What Does the Fox Say? It's a funny video. So when you're creating content, it's really important to think about why people share content, right? And so at YouTube, we've come to understand this in two main ways. The first one is, it says something about you when you share it with a friend, with a family member. If you're sharing something really funny, it says like, look, I watch funny videos and I'm a funny person myself. Like, this speaks to my sense of humor. If you're sharing something that's a little bit more intellectual, you're saying like, I watch things that are interesting to me and prove that I'm smart, and so you share that about yourself while you are sharing. So it's kind of what people like to show about themselves. And then it's also, when I share things, I know that I normally am inclined to share after, like, I feel a certain emotion after watching a video, and so you share in order to strike that emotion in others. And so when you're creating content or thinking of a show, you want to think, is this going to hit off? Is it going to be contagious? Are people going to share it? What Does the Fox Say was shared many, many, many times. It got 275 million views in 4 months, and that wouldn't have been possible without sharing. Word of mouth is still very, very important, and now word of mouth happens online, right?
And it's very important that you think about the fan base when you're creating that content. Is that fan base is going to be engaged with that content? I know a lot of you are thinking about how to create a successful business out of this content, and maybe you're thinking about a brand and how could that fit into that. That can come later. First, you need to build that fan base, and you need to think about that shareability aspect. So it's very important that you leave that monetization aspect to a little bit later, once that you have created that fan base and once that you're kind of an expert on how to engage with that.
So I'm actually going to show a brief clip of this for those that haven't seen it.
Dog goes woof, cat goes meow, bird goes tweet, and mouse goes squeak. Cow goes moo, frog goes croak, and the elephant goes toot. Ducks say quack, and fish go blub, and the seal goes ow, ow, ow. But there's one sound that no one knows. What does the fox say? What the fox say? What the fox say? Happy, happy, happy ho. Happy, happy, happy ho. Happy, happy, happy ho. What the fox say? What the fox say?
So you guys get the idea, and maybe you have an idea of why it was shared. I don't know if any of you guys have an idea of why you would share that. It's catchy. Yeah, I would probably say it's remarkable. There's a wow factor about it that you're like, what is this? So these are kind of different ways that we advise to be shareable. The topical one, ride the wave of some current trend. Construction workers react to Wrecking Ball is a video that College Humor did when Wrecking Ball was all over Google search trends. And then, as journalists, as bloggers, the being valuable is very relevant, right? So what information can you provide? What story can you tell that is going to positively impact or add value to other people's lives? And then in terms of, being relatable, we see a lot of videos get shared very frequently when they're about some topic that a large demographic can relate to. Whether that's living in New York or cell phone habits, there's a variety of ways to play that one.
I think something to add here on the Latino market or the Hispanic market, we tend to try to focus on that area and try to create that content and think about how it's going to be related to some population, even abroad. We have cases of success of Latino content created here that are doing really well in Saudi Arabia, for example. So really it's not about where you are or what are your initial segmentations or community or whatever. Try to be more open about that.
And then a pro tip from some of our very well-known creators. When you're creating content, think about what people are going to say about it, and then in what context are they going to share it. They ask themselves this question before they go about writing a new video. Moving on to number 2, conversation. I think the YouTube platform is super unique in the way that you can kind of have a dialogue with your fans. I don't know if you guys recognize any of these 9 characters on the right, but they kind of made their break on YouTube and are very known for communicating directly with their audience. And so...
Can you name some of them?
Yes. So Lindsay Sterling is on the top left, and Daily Grace from Daily Grace. Hola, soy Germán.
He's the 4th largest most subscribed channel in the world. He's Chilean. And he has more subscribers than Pitbull, Madonna channel, or whatever you name it. Hola, soy Germán. Hola, soy Germán. He's a vlogger, video blogger. He just talks.
He talks to a camera.
He just talks, but
to an audience.
You can, if you see his channel, you're gonna identify some of the things that we've been talking about. You can feel related immediately.
He's in the top right. No, he's
the one in the middle.
Hola, soy Germán.
He's another one. He's Mexican.
Yeah, Gabriel from
Yuya.
Hannah Hart on the left. So these are very well-known faces in the YouTube vlogging world. And they do a stellar job of talking to their audience. And we even see, some YouTubers come up with kind of names for their fans. Lady Gaga also does this and calls all of her fans little monsters. The same concept applies to YouTube and these vloggers. And it's kind of a way that they establish a friendship with that fan base, which is one of their biggest, assets on our platform.
For example, Hola, soy Germán, every time he begins a clip, he always begins like, Hola, soy Germán, and I bet you that, and he asks you a question. So that opens the conversation. You can see all the comments are going to be related to whatever he's asking and his initial question. And he does that all the time. And that's another point that Regina is going to touch later. But you can identify some points on that.
And so here we have Michael Stevens from Vsauce, a popular science channel that has over 6 million subscribers for 5 years. He is, the icon of the channel. He is the, his face is actually, that picture is actually the channel icon. And so it really creates that brand and is a testament to him, speaking directly to the audience. So in order to be conversational, you can do this in your main videos like many vloggers do, or you can also kind of create separate content that speaks directly to the audience and acknowledges that they're there in separate uploads, and we'll look at some quick examples of those. So these three, Lizzie Bennett Diaries, The Guild, and Lonely Girl 15, started as vloggers, and then they created scripted series, and we see that they were able to make that transition very well because they already conversed via vlogging with their audience. And then we also have creators like Conversations with My 2-Year-Old and Freddie Wong that create separate videos that are more kind of like behind the scenes or, thank you, definitely geared for their fans, but aren't necessarily a part of their like bread and butter content. So it's important to create that conversation and maintain that dialogue no matter what kind of format you're working with. Now, interactivity is different than conversation. Interactivity means involving the users to really take part in your content. There are a few ways that you can go about doing this, and we've seen some very creative examples, everything from, like identifying different parts of the video, having a phone number or like a code somewhere in the video, so the user needs to really pay close attention to certain things, and then doing like a raffle, to Jimmy Kimmel, who does every Halloween the Halloween candy, user-generated uploads. So he does kind of a contest and has parents send in the videos of the kids that don't get Halloween candy, and then he obviously has the permission to aggregate all of those and features them on his TV show and also on his YouTube channel. And another...
it doesn't need to be that complicated. Seth Frank, one of the previous creators, he began putting some numbers in his background. So since that's something that he always had the same background, viewers began to notice there was something different there. There was a number, and they began to pick that up, and it was a phone number. And if you called that phone number, there was a message for you. So it was super cool. It had nothing. It wasn't a prize, a contest. It was nothing. It was just a phone number with just opening a conversation. So that's something to think about. Viewers would really like to go deeper and deeper into what you're doing in that video.
How many of you guys have watched an epic rap battle? Are you guys familiar with that channel? Yeah, so they're really fun raps that are mainly educational. And it has a really powerful interactive component in that at the end of the show, you get to vote on which side won. And then you can also get to vote for who's next. So they do a fantastic job of involving the audience. And so these are clickable annotations that you're able to kind of cast your vote in that way.
For the ones that don't know what's a clickable annotation, it's a link. And you have the option to do that under your video manager tool.
Yeah. And so when people submit opinions, be sure to reply. You can do this in our commenting system. When you ask your fans for new content ideas, we see this work really well with a variety of kinds of channels. Make sure that you kind of give them a shout out. And another one is to incorporate the videos that users submit. So number 4 is consistency. There are a few ways to be consistent, and having recurring elements is super important. So we have this case of Enchufe TV, and they are a prime example of having very packaged content and also on a very regular schedule. So on Sundays, they put out a sketch. On Mondays, it's a making of. And on Tuesdays, a micro yapa. And they have 5 million subscribers. They definitely have a style and a brand that is consistent, and so the viewers know what to expect. And setting this expectation is super important. So they do the first 2 very well of having clearly packaged shows. They have 3 different series, and then they upload on a very regular schedule. Other ways to be consistent are having a consistent personality of the channel. So if you think back to the Kid President series, everyone knows who that kid is now, right? And then also just staying within the theme of a channel. So if you are a cooking channel, might be kind of, random to start doing auto videos or something like that. So make sure that you have kind of consistency in a brand that you feel represents who you are and what story you're trying to tell on our platform.
Even the background, it's part of the consistency. Some of the biggest creators, they keep the same background, and whenever they change it, they let you know why they change it and what they are trying to do with that. So that's part of, as a viewer, things that you get used to and you feel related and you continue getting back and back.
Number 5 is targeting. And so it's important to keep in mind who your audience is, and it's very interesting to look at who your audience is in YouTube analytics. You can see, demographic information, where they're accessing your content from, and so it's important to keep that in mind. And one of the biggest pieces of advice that I normally give is to put yourself in the audience's shoes.
Yes, this was from the AV. Carlos is handing on.
Okay. Oh, no, did he leave with it?
I don't know what's happening. Yeah, they're listening. Number 6 is sustainability. So if you remember back to one of the first slides, these 10 fundamentals are all based on having the loyal fan base. And it's important to YouTube for a variety of reasons. I will touch on watch time later, and I think that watch time has a lot to do with sustainability. So you need to make sure that you can make more of it and you can come up with different ideas based on the content that you're creating. You don't want to kind of put yourself in a dead end situation. And I think that there's a lot of ways to be creative about this, and we've seen some fascinating examples of this. Jack Douglas actually reads out comments in video form that he gets from his users in this series that he calls Your Grammar Sucks. So creators get very creative with this. But, there are things that you can do like block shoot. We highly recommend, trying to get as much content shot in one day, and then you have, 10 episodes that you upload over the course of 10 weeks. I would like to point that out. Pace is one of the most important pro tips. I see a lot of people that are beginning that post a video. They begin to gather some fan base, and then they forget for about 2 months. That's the worst thing you can do. Just like Regina said, if you're going to be uploading something, if you're not going to have the time, and your schedule is going to be one every 2 months, that's it. But let the audience know that's going to be it, and have that consistency or pace. Otherwise, you can be Bono on YouTube, from YouTube, but they're not getting back because they're getting some other content somewhere else. Yeah, and to the first point of thinking light and nimble, Juanjo mentioned that the barrier to entry to YouTube and to create content and to be a partner is very, very low. Some of our biggest channels are people that are videotaping themselves at home, but that have a story to share, and people want to listen to them. So you don't need these crazy production costs nor like very high over the top cameras to be successful on YouTube. And when you block shoot, we also recommend to do a trailer or behind the scenes, as much footage as you can when you are shooting, so that you have a lot to work with and so that you can plan out your schedule. As we mentioned, the importance to having a schedule. These guys, if they can't shoot 3 episodes in one day, they move on to the next idea. So this is just kind of a pro tip of ensuring that you're making the most out of your shooting. Number 7 is discoverability. So YouTube is the number 2 search engine, second to Google, and which means that it's important that you do things to try to improve search results. and related videos. And so there are a few ways to be discoverable. One of them is, building it into your show. If your show is centered around kind of topical things that are trending, then that's kind of like there are shows that do, recaps or that do kind of like opinion pieces on current events or things of that nature. So that's one way to go about it. Another one is to, really understand what people are searching for. You can do some research on Google Trends or see what's trending on Twitter and run with that. And another thing that I highly, highly recommend is understanding what channel optimization is, which I'm going to do a high level of in a bit, and really making sure that your titles, your tags, your descriptions are sending the algorithm the right signals, and making sure that you're doing everything that we've learned over the course of the years to make sure that your videos are more discoverable. So here, Barely Political is a channel, and their pro tip is, they make very kind of time-relevant content, and so they talk about, things that are happening every week, and that's how they come up with show ideas. And, that's what works for them. That might not be across the board applicable. Accessibility. So what we mean by accessibility is if somebody tunes in or stumbles upon your video, are they going to understand what it's about, what your channel is about? Like, do they need further context? And this one really depends on the type of content that you're creating. It might not be applicable to you. But if you're, for example, like Miss Glamorazzi doing DIY videos, you can, have episode numbers, but they're not you don't need to watch 1 through 8 in order to watch episode 9, right? But if you're doing more of like a series content, you will, have episodes. However, not every episode needs to tie to the pilot, right? Or you can use annotations to say like, oh, if you need to watch, the prior episode or don't understand what's going on, and send them to that episode where they do, kind of come to understand the foundation for that current episode. Or you could do a brief recap of the situation before starting. So this is kind of thinking about the experience that your viewers are going to have and what road you're going to take when it comes to that.
Again, you need to be thinking as a viewer. If you don't tell them what's going to be about that, think about as a viewer. What happens when you're browsing on YouTube? Just click next, 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 until something catches your attention, right?
Number 9 is collaboration. So this is one of our favorite words and tips. Collaborating on YouTube means working with another creator, coming up with, there are so many different kinds of collaborations that you could do. One example is Hannah Hart started a series where she brought on creators to cook with her, and well-known creators. And so there are also you could co-produce a show, or you could kind of do a trade of skills as a means of collaborating. So there's a variety of ways to collaborate. The important part about collaborating is that you're cross-promoting each other's channels, and it's one of the fastest ways to gain subscribers. If you are working with a channel that has a similar audience and do kind of a real genuine project together and then promote each other, we see really great results on the subscriber front and on the view front, because you're already targeting kind of similar audiences.
And be sure that your fan base is not going to go with the other creator. Audiences on YouTube multiply themselves. So when doing this, you're only doing that. You're only going to be multiplying and being accessible to some other people that haven't seen your channel.
Absolutely. So it's a win-win, really. And then the last one of the 10 is inspiration. obvious to viewers when people are creating content that they're very inspired to be creating. So you want to kind of keep that authenticity and keep the inspiration in your videos and across your channel. Freddie Wong, really makes a very genuine type of gaming content that he's very passionate about, and you can tell immediately when you're watching his videos. So you want to instill that reaction in people that come across your videos. So as you're developing new ideas for YouTube, these are the 10 questions that you want to ask yourself, and we actually have these printed for you guys, so you don't need to take pictures. Yeah, that would be great. And I have more.
Thank you. We have about 5 minutes.
Yeah. You want to start them on that?
Yeah.
Great. So we have about 5 minutes, and I'm going to do what I normally do in 2 hours and 5 minutes. So at YouTube, we have a creator playbook that has all the best tips and advice for optimizing your channel and optimizing your videos. And I've decided to group this into 3 main buckets. The first bucket is what we call metadata. Metadata consists of your title, your description, and your tags. How many people are familiar with this screen when you upload a video? Great. So when you're doing this, there are a couple of pro tips here. For your title, you want it to be concise. You want to include the keywords, the most important words, at the beginning of the title. If you have an episode, you want to have the episode number. And you want to ensure that your title and your custom thumbnail tell a cohesive story together, because that's essentially like the cover of your video. So those are kind of our best tips about the title. The description. The first 3 lines of the description are the most important. Does anyone know why? Because those are the ones that show and you don't need to click to. Absolutely. So you want to make sure that you're describing your video, including any relevant links and related videos or playlists. And the third thing is the tags. Our recommendation for tags is that you use some broad and some specific tags. So the broad ones should describe your channel, the general type of content that you're producing, any like higher level themes. And then the specific should be more relevant to the particular video that you are uploading. And what's important about these 3 things is that they tell the YouTube algorithm what your video is about. So this is how the algorithm classifies and comes to understand your video.
And don't lie on this one, because if you lie just to gain more viewers, and once the algorithm finds you and then the viewers leaves you and they don't go through your video, it's gonna ramp down your content. So really be honest there.
The second part of optimizing your channel has to do with branding. So branding consists of these 4 components: your channel icon, the banner, a trailer, and then custom thumbnails. So the icon, you want to ensure that it represents your brand. Here we have Michelle Fawn's icon and banner. Something that she does really well in her banner includes new video every Friday. So that way the viewer knows when to expect that new video, and it also implies that she's very much on a consistent programming schedule. And then with the trailer is an opportunity to show people that are not subscribed to your channel what your channel is about. And so this will only appear to people that are not subscribed. And you can do kind of like a highlight reel. It's essentially a commercial for your content, which is a great way to advertise what you're all about and have people want to subscribe. And then custom thumbnails. When you upload a video, I'm gonna flip back to the screen just so that you know exactly what I'm talking about. There's this button where you can click on custom thumbnail. we highly recommend uploading a custom thumbnail because YouTube generates these 3 options, but they're normally, shot during the video. And with a custom thumbnail, you can choose your own image to upload. And we recommend it's, very high quality, that it's, we tend to see that images that are close-ups do much better. Be very careful with text as more and more people are viewing YouTube on mobile. So you want to ensure that you can see the thumbnail in all different sizes very well.
We are visual. We take decisions based on visual elements. So if you're leaving the visual portion apart, you're really leaving a lot of percentage out of the decision when tapping into your content. We're going to leave a couple of minutes at the end for some questions.
And the third big part of audience development is watch time. Watch time is defined as the amount of time that a user spends on your channel with your content. And the reason it's important is because it's the most important or heavily weighted metric in our search and related video algorithms. So, if you were to search for, you could search for a variety of things, and you'll notice that the videos are ranked not based on number of views, but and the reason for that is because of channel watch time. So you want to do everything possible to enhance and augment the watch time of your channel. This is kind of how we think about it. So, you get a user to find your video, you want to keep them on your channel watching that video, you want them to watch more videos, and you want them to be loyal and continue to come back for more. So this concept is super, super important to keep in mind as a guide to how you think about, what kind of show you want to make or series, and also how you promote your content. So things that you can do that are, audience development related to watch time is put your videos on playlists. The idea here is that one video will show and then the next one and the next one and the next one. So you're curating content for your audience in order. If you have episodes, do it, in order of episodes. If it's more by category, then you can do that as well. Another great thing for watch time is what we call in-video programming, which is a type of annotation. And you can promote another one of your videos or a playlist on your own videos. And so the idea there is that instead of having them leave to go to another channel or another website, they continue watching more of your own content. And, making calls to action during your videos kind of brings us full circle back to that conversation fundamental of really creating a dialogue and ensuring, telling your subscribers, like, come back for more, subscribe, share the video, leave me comments, reply to those comments. All of those things are very helpful for watch time. So you can look into all of these 3 areas at our playbook, which is found at youtube.com/playbook. We will take a few questions. If you guys, hopefully this was educational and informational. We have 5 minutes for questions. If you guys can scan the QR code. If you can scan the QR code and give us your information, we'll be in touch with more resources and information for you guys. I will be at the Google booth tomorrow for one-on-one consultations or any questions that you might have that we don't answer in this group setting.
Great. Let's go with the first one.
Quick question. What would be the best day to post on YouTube as a whole? I'm sure there's specific depending on the audience, but is there a specific day that is good?
There's no correct answer for that. You're going to find out yourself. So the best way to find that out is post and see how your fan base is beginning to engage and if they are asking for more and how often. And once they get used to, stick to that, because if you change a day, they're not going to like it.
I'm curious how much your
That's a very good question. I can tell you that our partners, they can make six figures in a certain amount of time. Some partners decide not even go with traditional media and create just a career on YouTube. Some other ones, they expand and they create commercials and they go and create series. I know in Orange is a very successful partner, and now he has a gig on Nickelodeon. So they go back and forth. You can make a living out of it, totally. I can't tell, but they can make a
We have
good
thousands
living.
of creators that make six figures.
Let's go with the lady.
When we embed our videos, whether on Facebook or within a blog post or whatever, are we still getting the same data? Are you still receiving the same data? I always feel like there's a bit of a delay.
So in analytics, you're able to see traffic sources. There's a traffic source report where you can see where your viewers are viewing it. And you can see like if it's on an embedded player or an external site or your homepage, you have that optionality.
When you embed, there's no option to like or not like the
Right.
video. Do you know if that's something in the works?
I'm not sure, but that's
it's-
great feedback that I'd be happy to share.
Actually, we're focusing on our platform, and that's growing day to day. When you use some other platforms to share, the best thing that we can tell you is use it very wisely. Maybe you want to use it to share something and then get them back to a full series or something like that. And not just because the liking or the engaging in that platform, it's also because the monetization. Maybe in some other platforms or in some other sites, you're not gonna have all the monetization features that you have on native YouTube platform.
I just wanted to ask a couple of questions and share a story about something that happened. We do documentaries, some of which have been seen on PBS, and we put parts of them up on video or some shows or parts of them we shot for somebody else. What happened was, for example, somebody saw on YouTube that we had a certain footage, and this week they came and they bought some footage for a documentary coming out, premiere the Tribeca Film Festival on Maradona. So we specialize mostly in sports, but we do other stuff too. And then the other thing is, when we license footage, we put it in our films, then we put it up. And YouTube has a strike system. Somebody at corporate says, hey, that's our footage, and we have licensed, and we block certain accessibility in our accounts. How do you unblock that? That's one of the things to do, and I guess I can bring that up at the group tomorrow. But it's some glitches that come through the system, but I think the main thing is the visibility of YouTube generates business in other ways. And the other thing is, have you found, this is a question, have you found successful creators that have done it in different languages, or do they stick to one language?
Yes, let me go with the last one. One of our latest examples, Galinha Pintadinha in Brazil. She has a great channel in the US called Lottie Dottie Chicken. So that's a great example.
She has one in Spanish too, right?
In Spanish, right? What's the name? Same content,
Same
they're just
creator.
changing the language. And Backdoor, what's the name of Porta dos Fundos in Brazil? They have this channel in the US called Backdoor, I don't know, whatever.
Yeah.
And the first one, the system is called Content ID. So different to any other platform, we allow to create a reference file if you own some kind of content. And that content, if you're owner of that, you're going to be able to say to some other users that may be uploading that content, hey, that content is mine. So whenever you're uploading into YouTube, you got to make sure that you own 100% that content. If this case, somebody else is uploading your content, you got to go to the copyright section, and you can let them know that somebody else is using your content.
Yes.
And we can expand on
Yeah.
the booth on that.
I'm Jenny Picasso from Malas Conectadas. I'm a blog from VR, Gran Republic. And I'm incorporated my YouTube channel to my blog. Someone said to me that the ads on YouTube, it pays less in Latin America than in the United States. How do you value that? What is it? Is that true? Because I'm not sure.
CPMs, not only on YouTube or Google overall, CPMs in Latin America are way lower than in the US. And that's not something that we are managing, it's the industry. The industry in Latin America is not at the same level as the US. It's catching up, and we're seeing that getting better and better, but yes, there's a difference. And that's not only on YouTube or your website or whatever, it's all over the place. That's an industry thing.
Hi, I had a question about the watch time. Is there a sweet spot, and I'm sure it's by category, that's accessible if you're a content creator to see, for example, a beauty tutorial video. I was making one, I would want to know how long it should be. Should it be 2 minutes or 5 minutes? Is there a way to find out that information if there is, a certain time that's kind of a good guideline to go with, and would I have access to that information as a research as a creator?
So we don't really recommend a certain time number. Our suggestion is to, communicate the message that you want to communicate in the time that it takes you to do so, and use your best judgment, and log into YouTube Analytics, in particular the audience retention report, which shows you where your audience, how the percentage of your audience that's watching, and where they drop off. And so based on that, you can kind of make a decision of how long it should be, but also it's an art and a science, right? So you want to ensure that you're getting your message across, and kind of use the audience retention report as a tool to inform it. But at the end of the day, don't change your content just based on a number that you think is right.
And watch time is tricky to understand, but don't think just about watch time, about the length of a video. Think about the session that you're creating with one specific clip. When Regina went into playlist, it can be 10 2-minute clips, or it can be 2 15-minute clips. It's about how much watch time you are generating in a session for a user. So you need to think broader than the length.
Yes?
I just had an administrative question. Is the Google or the YouTube playbook have the same information that you just presented, or do you have copies of your PowerPoint?
Well, it basically has more information. It's a 90 pages slide book, and it has more in-depth information. What we wanted to point out here was the basics and the concepts, so you can understand it and then go back and really think about it as your Bible. That's contains all the secrets to be successful on YouTube. No more questions? One more?
I don't think you can, and that's kind of the beauty. But I think that at the same time, the ability for you to know where they are watching it from can help inform your future content. But yeah, there's not really a way to control for who your audience is.
That's part of the amazing things that you can get out analytics. You can know where they're stepping. It will be good for you to understand why. We have, I have a partner that has a successful series, and here in the US in Spanish, and it was very successful in Italy. So we began to see it was super successful in Italy, and it come up that specific novela was talking about one topic that was related to people in Italy, and there was some history behind, so you can understand those kind of things with analytics.
Also, there's some cool new functionalities with top fans, with once Google Plus merged with YouTube, you can kind of see who your top commenters are, and maybe that's a good place to start polling why people from other countries are watching your content, or what it, kind of getting to know some of those fans firsthand. That's a cool way to interact with them and get more info on that.
And I think we need to to stop. Can we do one more? Yes. Yeah, let me just quick respond that one. We are tapping into Generation C, and Generation C is really not one age group. We're presenting these ones because they are the most popular ones, and yes, they tend to be younger, and we tend to skew younger, but this is kind of the delicious content. We have tons of nutritious content. The how-to segment of how to do things, how to cook, how to do whatever, is more not that goofy, and it's a big thing on the platform. So don't it's a wrong concept. Don't think about that.
No, it's because that's what you showed.
Yeah. Well, not actually. We show some other ones. We show a lot of Michelle Phan. Michelle Phan, it's a really upcoming talent coming from New York and doing makeup, and it's not goofy at all.
And yeah, in the earlier session today, I went over some different formats that work for journalists. YouTube is, starting to do really cool things with live stream news reporting or even daily roundup, and those are obviously tailored at a more diverse audience. So there is everything. I think that these are more, creator, but definitely, like to Juanjo's point, these are kind of the big themes that we see, but they can be seen in different contexts as well, not just in goofy
You can
videos.
transpond the concepts and use it on your own. Well, we need to stop. Thank you so much. We hope to see you at the booth.